Hello, we are going to feed the largest spider I have in my collection. This is she's 6.5, 7 inches Lasiodora parahybana female. No, you don't want to come out here and get this. There you go. She's a big girl. Got the dogs in the background, parakeet in the background. We're out in the kitchen. Don't shoot out here very often, but everybody's gone, so I thought I'd take advantage of our new kitchen table. Try to breed some Salmopaeus victori, which right now they're not really doing anything. So I've had a couple questions about this species recently, and it's more care. This is what I'll tell you with Lasiodora. Since I've had her, which I got her about 1 inch, a little bit more, they grow rather quickly after that 1.5 inch mark. They tend to grow a little slower before that, but once they hit that 1.5 inch mark, they really start putting on size quick. And you can get, in a little over 1.5 years, you can go from 1 inch to a 3-inch spider without any problem with these. They do eat pretty much almost every time you feed them. I don't have a lot of depth in this enclosure. There's about 4 inches of substrate. I gauge how I set my enclosures up based on how my spiders act from day one. This was never a spider that ever dug anything. As you can see, she doesn't particularly care for holes. She's got a burrow there and she filled it in with her plants. So I don't keep her any warmer or cooler than anything else, whatever my temperature is in my bedroom, which can range in the wintertime from 68 to 74, 75. Hey, let's not, I'm filming here. You can't be barking. What do you think this is? So, no, that's not your food either. It's dog sitting here. I gotta babysit my older dog because she takes the younger dog's food all the time. Anyway, these are spiders that will eat something a little bit bigger than what you would expect them to. They're not afraid to take down big animals, big feeders. So if you have a small spider about 1 inch, a larger cricket, maybe just a tad bit too much. Maybe a medium-sized cricket would probably be more suitable. You could feed a couple of them at a time, and then take whatever else out that she doesn't or he doesn't eat. They get their color pretty quick. This dark blacks and these, that salmon colored setae. You can also tell Lasiodora parahybana from other species that they get confused with Granistola pulchripes and Aphanopelma simani and some other things quite often. But if you look right here, you see that patch of hair, how it sticks up and it faces forward. You'll see like a half-crested moon there. When you see that forward, we call it forward-facing setae. This is the dogs have been cooped up, so now they're playing. That's a way to indicate Lasiodora. They get confused quite often. Believe me, quite often they get confused. They don't have much of a striation on their legs at all, but you could see the amount of setae that they have, pretty prominent from the patella down. Very, very thick and hairy, long hairs on the abdomen. A very dark colored carapace, a little bit of creams here and there, and you can see the banding right there, just below or above the patella area there. You'll have that slight striation on the knee, but not much. This enclosure is roughly, I think it's 17 inches long by about 8 to 10 inches wide and 7 inches deep, so it's halfway filled with dirt. It's just a stair-like container. I find these much easier to keep my terrestrial species in than anything else. They'll hold the dirt better. Not that the glass won't, but glass is a little bit heavier. I think the plastic is much lighter, and it's easier on the shelving units, so you don't have the shelving units cave in. It's not doing much fang action here. Usually she's pretty good about doing some chomping. Move her just a little bit and you can try to get a front view of her. So you look at her and, you know, the camera right here, and she doesn't look all that big, but trust me, when you see her in person, she's quite a bit larger than any of the other spiders I have. I do have a few brachypelmas, Hamori and Bomi, or Bomi, whichever you want to say, are close to her size, but not that big. She's very broad and wide. Her carapace is very broad and wide. So she is a water tipper. You'll see. I'll show you. Here's some bang action for you. There's her water dish. All the spiders on her shelving unit were watered 3 days ago, so that was full. Once I put it in, generally the next day it's upside down. I've never really had any issues with keeping her dry. I will once a month saturate one side of the enclosure. Generally it's the side that you see her on, where the water dish is. I generally leave the area where her hide is alone. You can see that she's done a lot of surface webbing. When she molted last time, she did it right here. But she usually hangs out in this area. That's usually where I find her. She's never tried to really bolt. If you look back, way back at the beginning of my channel, there's a video on her. It's called Crazy Lasiodora parahybana feeding or something of that nature. People got a kick out of that because she was all over her enclosure, running in and out of her little hide and trying to find the cricket or roach or whatever it is that I fed her. But I feed her roughly every 2 weeks. She'll get a large size dubia roach. And if I don't feel like feeding roaches, or I didn't not power feed, but feed up the roaches prior to giving them to her, I will usually do super worms. So she'll get 3, sometimes 4 super worms. I have fed her hornworms. She really likes them. I was going to order some before winter, but I decided to hold off. I'm going to order a big bunch of them in spring and do a big hornworm feeding in spring. I'm not real keen on having them sent in the mail with our temperatures as they are right now. So we have what we have. I have a big order of 500 super worms coming in, so we'll do a lot of super worm feeding over the winter time. And of course my dubias are doing well. Got lots of babies, so we'll be feeding a bunch of those off too. So yeah, that's the gist of Lasiodora parahybana. You know where they're from. They're Brazil, the Brazilian salmon pink birdeater. I don't, I mean, I look at her sete and I don't see pink, but I see more of a reddish. These hairs here back on her abdomen here are more reddish, and these on her legs seem to be whiter, but I guess if you look at them under a microscope, maybe you would see some of that different odd coloring that they derive their name from. Would I recommend these to a beginner? Absolutely. I just did to a new keeper. She actually just is going to pick up her first one in January. So yeah, absolutely. I would have these on my beginner list of tarantulas for new keepers. Basically because they are pretty much bulletproof. They do eat well. They grow well. You can't get bored with these guys. They are a treat to own. Now she's going back to her favorite spot, and she'll probably sit there for the rest of the night and finish off her meal. So if you have any questions about Lasiodora parahybana, I don't know a lot about the other Lasiodora species. I do have a Kluge, and I had a little baby Difficilis that just never ever ate. Had it for almost a year and it never molted, finally passed away. I have not handled her at all. Not that I don't trust her, she just never crawled out on her own. So if she did, I probably would put her on my hand and then try to get her right back in again, just because I don't want that large spider running around my house. My wife would murder me. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We're going to try and do some more stuff here before Christmas. I was going to do a filming of the Salmon Victoria pairing, but he's just sitting there. He hasn't drummed at all, and she's down deep in her burrow. I can give you guys a quick look if you want to. There they are. You're going to get a glare, but there he is, and she's down in there behind her nice little log. We just redid her home the other day before we got the mail to come in. So she's all set up. She ate a couple crickets that day. He's been in there in a vial we call shark tanking, just sitting in there. I have not seen her come out at all for him, and he's just kind of sat in the bio and not done much of anything. So I'll probably get her back on the shelf here, the Lasiodora parahybana female, and I'll probably get him back into a separate enclosure and then try them again in a couple days. We'll see if we can't get him to eat, can't get her to eat again, and I'll make it rain in there again so it's nice and saturated for a day or two, and then put him back in there. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to check down below. Don't forget to check out my Instagram, Eerie Arachnids. I did start a TikTok. I don't know much about it, but people tried to get me to do it, so I did it. There's a couple short videos on there. And of course here, you know, if you haven't subscribed, please, you know, don't be afraid to hit that button. I was hoping by this year to have 5,000 subscribers, and I don't even have 4 yet. So, but I did go a long time without making some videos. So any more specific, like I said, anything more specific on the parahybana that you want to know about, I'll do my best to answer any questions you guys put down below. We could do it in a separate video, or I could just answer your questions as they come in. We'll do another care video on, I'm not sure what will be the next one, but you'll look at roughly about the same amount of time, a 10 to 12 minute video. Basically what you're seeing will be how I do my videos. I don't do the flashy stuff like some of the other channels. If you've been on my channel a long time, you know that I don't like to edit a bunch of stuff. I know people get subscribers that way by being flashy. That's not how I want to do it. I want people to come to my channel to listen to what I have to say and to see the animals that I'm talking about, not my face on the camera for 75% of the film. So yeah, if you liked the video, hit like. If you didn't like the video, you know, you can hit the dislike. That's cool. And just let me know why, so I could try and do things a little bit better for everybody. So we'll see everybody later, and we'll go back to my normal ending of happy keeping.